Adam Mockler, welcome to Uncensored, Adam. You've obviously hit the headlines in the last few days. For those who haven't seen it, I think it's up there with my Russell Brand clip as the two most memed and republished clips of the week. So let's take a look at your one. This is you with Scott Jennings at CNN.
I mean, honestly, they have been at war with us for 47 years.
We all know that Scott Jennings is more than happy to defend a war with a country that starts with the letters IRA that we are currently failing, that is going to put us trillions and trillions of dollars more in debt. I was only a few years old while you were in the administration defending prior endless wars. Now this war is failing.
8 weeks is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat?
Homie, I debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago, and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going your way.
One political concession. Name one political concession.
Whoa,
Honestly, I'm not going to have this guy's in my face.
Everybody, hang tight.
Honestly.
Okay. No, everybody, calm down. Okay.
Now, as somebody who was repeatedly actually manhandled by Russell Brand, I think your manhandling was at least a little bit removed. There was daylight between your arms and Scott Jennings. But what was interesting about the exchange to me was not that he was not entitled to get annoyed with the way you were gesticulating. I probably would have done too. But I've not seen him that rattled. Scott Jennings is normally ice cool on that panel show. I watch it a lot. I think he's a really interesting commentator for the right on CNN. It's an unusual beast. They don't have many of them. And he holds his own often against 3 or 4 people. And on this occasion, Geraldo was also on the panel, I noted. And we'll come to Geraldo for his view of it in a minute. But I haven't seen Scott Jennings react like that to anybody. And that, to me, in the same way that I'm seeing with Donald Trump's slightly erratic and, quite angry and testy social media activity in the last few weeks, it just looks to me like people that have gone all in on this war in Iran, now it's not playing out in any way that they predicted or told everybody that it was going to play out. They're getting testy. They're getting quite angry about it, which is a natural human reaction, but is increasingly obvious. And I thought your exchange with Scott was indicative of that. What did you think?
I don't want to take away from the point that I was making in the question that I was asking in that moment, because I have sat on panel after panel after panel with Scott Jennings as he lies about this war, not bound by any facts whatsoever, as he makes failed predictions, not bound by any timelines whatsoever, and as he condescends and trolls and provokes everyone else on the panel. I mean, even in the same panel, he made fun of my bedtime like 5 minutes earlier. So this is a man that's not bound by any facts or timelines or rules. So I said, I'm not going to be bound by rules that my opponent is not playing it. So you can say that I was gesticulating a bit too much. That's a fair criticism, but he could have politely asked me to tone it down. That is not what he did. He snapped because he realized he does not have an answer to the simple question, name one political concession we've gotten from Iran 60 days into this war. We've had moving, shifting timelines, shifting objectives for this war. They've been lowering the threshold for what victory is considered as. And just because I asked the question of, hey, what concessions have we gotten, that pisses him off. We've seen billions of dollars spent. We saw dozens of people, thousands of people in Iran have died, tens of thousands, but we saw over a dozen US soldiers die. So I'm going to continue to ask this very same question. What political concessions have we gotten from Iran 60 days into this war? The answer is absolutely none, and he knows the answer is none. That's why he freaked out.
Yeah, I think it's a perfectly
and don't
reasonable...
apologize.
No,
I don't think
you shouldn't be apologising. No, I mean,
yeah.
Let me bring Geraldo in firstly, because Geraldo, you were on the panel. I want to play your reaction on News Nation to what you saw on that panel.
The kid was a dick. I mean, he really smart, eloquent, had his argument together, had obviously debated Scott before, and he was really being a dick. I mean, it was shut up, go out and get some life experience.
How many different...
I wasn't sure if you were talking about Chris Cuomo there, actually, Geraldo. I had to clarify you were talking actually about Adam Mockler. Now,
you still think so?
Well, Adam, I mean, what do you want to say to Geraldo? He called you a dick. Do you have a response?
Yeah, it's not a dick to try to force a critical question and try to force the conversation to where the American people want it. Geraldo, you were there when Scott made fun of my bedtime 5 minutes earlier. Again, this is somebody not bound by any rules whatsoever on this show. He's able to lie over and over. Why should I be bound by some decorum that my opponents aren't bound by? Do you see what I'm saying? It's not the 80s anymore. It's not even 2010 anymore. We are in a new era where we are playing in a reciprocal manner. So I'm not playing the games where I have to be nice. And regarding life experience, really quickly, you have a whole life of experience and you're on the same panels as me. We're on the same shows. We have a show last week. We have a show today. So life experience, what has it gotten you? I don't know.
All right, Geraldo, your life experience has got you nowhere, says the young Dick.
Well, it's got me a career that's lasted 56 years so far and counting, and aside from 10 Emmys and a few other trinkets.
And now you're on the same panels as the kid who won.
Adam, listen, don't be a wise ass, okay? I said to you in the commercial break that immediately followed your confrontation with Scott, that I thought that you made some good points. The problem is that you can be very obnoxious in your presentation. Now, sometimes being obnoxious can lead to a whole career, but I advise you strongly, because you're a smart kid and you obviously prepared, for the debate. Stick to that. Stick to the substance, because I think that you do have a future. In terms of Scott Jennings, I like Scott very much. I didn't know him before the CNN experience. It was fun talking to him in the green room before the show, and then see the confrontation, this spontaneous combustion. I was surprised. I was surprised by the fact that Scott reacted as he did. But then, just listening to Adam, he can be very grating, and sometimes that works. I remember Morton Downey and a bunch of others from daytime TV and so forth. But I strongly advise you to stick to the substance, because you can, as I indicated in the commercial break following the confrontation, you can be a voice for a generation that has so far been unable to penetrate into the mainstream media. That's my.
This is so indicative of the double standards that we see all throughout the media. I mean, you went on that whole rant, but you didn't mention that Scott Jennings made fun of my bedtime or whatever. Not that I care, but he's the one who has an obnoxious air.
What did he say about your bedtime? I missed that.
So I asked him a question 5 minutes before. I said, hey, what concession has Iran gotten? And he says, aren't you a little bit up past your bedtime or something? He started with the condescending jabs.
To be fair, Adam, you are literally beaming into the show from your bedroom.
It's a hotel room. I'm currently at a hotel room. But, I mean, either way.
It's not the best way to refute the suggestion that it's past your bedtime.
What are you talking about? I'm in a hotel room in New York because I have CNN again tonight.
Adam, it's a joke. You're reacting a bit. You're reacting a bit like Scott did the other day. So take a chill pill. You happen to have a bed behind you as you're refuting the charge that is past your bedtime. I'm just making a joke.
It's a good joke. One final thing. I'm 23. Maybe my youthful arrogance will drop with time, but there's no excuse for Scott Jennings to be on air all the time, making remarks at everybody else. And then the moment somebody gives it back, he can dish it, but he can't take it. The moment somebody tries to force the question, what political concession have we gotten from Iran, he gets worked up. So yeah.
Well, okay. I don't know Scott Jennings at all. I never met him. I think he's a very effective communicator on a network, CNN, that when I was there was very, very, very cautious about revealing any kind of partisan bias, but now has a panel show where quite often on that show they have 4 on one side and Scott Jennings. So I actually feel like he puts up a pretty good fight, given he's often heavily outnumbered. But Anna, on a sort of slightly wider point here, it's very interesting to me. I just interviewed Megyn Kelly for 20 minutes at the start of this show. And I could have been talking to you about some of these issues, right? Same with Tucker Carlson. A lot of you have blended now into a weird family of people who have a lot of agreement about a lot of things. Iran, the influence of Israel, Donald Trump and his mistake as you see it, and so on. Did you think a time would come when you would be siding rhetorically on these big, big issues with so many who are on the conservative right? And what does that tell you?
About Adam Mockler's tone, but almost nothing to say about Scott Jennings and the way he engages on CNN night after night. That imbalance is exactly what stands out. And more importantly, the core argument just gets brushed aside, because Mockler isn't throwing random talking points. He's asking one very direct question. What has actually been achieved here? After weeks of escalation, massive spending, and real human cost, what are the tangible results? And instead of a clear answer, the conversation keeps shifting to tone, attitude, or delivery. That's not accidental. When a question's uncomfortable and there isn't a strong answer, the easiest move is to redirect.